This is a video on multiplying polynomials. And we want you to remember how the product rule works. If x to the a is multiplied times x to the b, then that will be x to the a plus b. We're adding the exponents when we multiply like bases. Okay, here we're just doing a little distribution. You're going to distribute to the first term and then the second term. Remember that term it wears its sign in front, meaning it keeps the sign when you multiply it. So k times k is k squared, and then k times a negative 9 is negative 9k. Done. Okay, that's a monomial, and this is this is actually a binomial. Over here we have a trinomial. So that's why this slide is titled Monomial times Polynomial. So 9a times an a is 9a squared, and anything times 1 is itself. Okay, now we're multiplying not just twice, but 3 times, because there's 3 terms in the parentheses. Negative 3 into the third. We add those exponents, and then positive 6 into the second, and a negative 24 in. And that's it. That's all that you have to do. And I guess you could at that point look to see if there's anything to combine, but there's not. But you should, I guess, check that. Okay, sometimes there's more than one variable. That's all right. That's what this is going to look like. Multiply by both terms in there. Multiply the numbers, and then add the exponents. A and a squared is going to give you a to the third. There's nothing to combine the b with, so it just tags along. So it doesn't increase at all. Now this is negative 21. A, because there's no a's involved here, and then 1b and 3 b's is altogether 4 b's. And then look at those. Yes, they both have a's and b's, but they're not to the same power. So you cannot, these are not like terms. You cannot combine them. Okay, just because they have the same letters, they have to have the same letters to the same power. Okay, now we're going to distribute this to each of these things. So 3x to the third y plus 3x to the second y to the second. See, there's those 2 x's and these 2 y's. Then 3 to the x, and then y to the 2, and 1 is 3. Okay, and what also is important here is that when we write things in standard form, we need to have the variables in alphabetical order. And then if you look at this one, it's got all sorts of, it's got the same variables over and over again. So then you decide the first term, so x comes before y, and it has the highest exponent here. So that's why this term came in front, and this term went all the way to the back. And that's called standard form. Okay, now here we're going to have to distribute, but then combine like terms after. So I distribute to all the things just in the parentheses, not also to the 7x. Negative 6x squared. Negative times a negative gives us a positive 8x plus 7x. Now I have some like terms. So I have negative x squared. The highest power goes in the front due to standard form. And then I've got plus 15x. Okay. Ooh, here's some distribution, and then may have to combine some like terms. All right, so this 6x gets distributed to these two. 12x squared minus 18x. Now remember, this is a negative 5 that's being distributed, so keep that sign with it. And that becomes a negative 10x squared and a negative 45x and a positive 15. And now I'm going to combine the things that go together. So this one and this one can be combined because they're the same variable to the same power. And that gives us a total of 2x squared. Then I've got this negative 18 and negative 45. Ooh, what's that going to be? 10, 11, 12, 13, 4, 5, 6, 63. Negative 63x. And then there's nothing to combine here, so I just add the 15. Okay, that's it. You can always pause this video if you missed something, or you can go back and look at another bit. Okay, now we've got more than just one term on the outside. So I wish I could go back quickly to that other slide. Here we go. On this last example, see, there's only one thing on the outside of these parentheses, one thing on the outside of that parentheses. But here, all of a sudden, we have, a binomial times a binomial. So this is the method that you can use. This is one of the methods. It's called FOIL, and that stands for first, outer, inner, last. First terms, let's multiply the first terms, x times x. And that's going to give us x squared. I'm just writing it right here so you understand where I'm getting the terms from. Outer times outer. This is on the outside and this is on the outside. So 4 and x is 4x. Inner. Those are the two inside terms. 2 and x. 2x. And then the last term in the binomial and the last term in the binomial, and that gives us 8. Okay, so that's where I got this first, outer, inner, last. Now, normally we would just write those below it. And the good thing about FOIL is it usually puts your two like terms in the middle. So you can combine those to 6x. So we have x squared plus 6x plus 8. Can you combine these? No. They have the same variable, but it's not to the same power. So this is it. This is simplified. And we have our highest exponent first, which is standard form. Okay, so let's erase this. Go on to the next one. Okay, some people think of it a little bit differently, so I just showed you FOIL. But some people think of it as I'm going to multiply this first term times everything that's in there. And then I'm going to apply or multiply this second term times everything that's in there. So you can think of it this way, if that's what you'd prefer. So x times x is going to be x squared. Then x times a negative 2 is negative 2x. And then we do 5 times x and 5 times negative 2. And again, we have our middle terms that we can combine as they're like terms. And so that's going to give us x squared plus 3x minus 10. And now that's simplified. There's nothing left to do. Okay, so you can do that. We can do that one again. So whoopsie, that's a little bit off. All of these so far have had just a variable with a coefficient of 1 in the front. But here's an example of one with a coefficient of 2. And so that's fine. So we got 2x times x, and that's 2x squared. And then we got 2x times a negative 5. It's negative 10x. And then we're going to do the bottom. So 1 times x is a positive x. And then 1 times negative 5 is same thing. It is itself. And then we can combine these two, right? So we've got 2x squared minus 9x minus 5. So that's two different ways to think of multiplying the binomial times binomial. There is yet another way, which is called the box method. And we're going to try this. So here's what you do with the box method. You make a box. And I have two terms here, so that's why I have two spaces up here. I have two terms here, that's why I have two spaces there. So I put x and negative 10. Remember that negative belongs to the 10. And then I put x and negative 4. Now this is like when you were doing maybe like a lattice method when you were a kid. You might kind of looks familiar to you maybe. So x times x is going to be x squared. Now I do x times negative 10. So negative 10x. That's what goes in the box. Now, negative 10 times negative 4 is going to go in this box. So negative 4 and negative 10 is a positive 40. And then I have to do, so you do every row and every column, right? So x times a negative 4 is a negative 4x. Then you can usually combine the terms that are right there. And so I would say x squared minus 14x plus 40 is my final answer. Okay, so let's try this one. We've got x and negative 1, and then 5x and a negative 4. So you just combine, you're going to multiply every row times every column, right? 5x, it doesn't matter what order you go into. 5x times x is going to give me 5x squared. Now I go 5x times negative 1, negative 5x. Negative 4 times x, negative 4x. Negative 4 times negative 1, positive 4. Combine the like terms, and I'm going to write my answer up here. So it's going to be 5x squared, and then minus 9x, right? Negative 4 and a negative 5, and then plus 4. And that's my final answer. Okay, and I should have said this a long time ago, what answers are we getting? We're getting trinomials. When we're multiplying these two binomials, so far we've always gotten trinomials. So what about multiplying a binomial times a trinomial? Okay, well, let's see what happens. We're going to multiply this first term times everything in here. Then we're going to multiply this bottom, or this term, the second term. I shouldn't say bottom term, but I'm showing my rainbows on the bottom. So this second term is going to be multiplied. If there was a third term, we would multiply that third term times everything that was in there. So everything gets multiplied by everything one time. X times x squared is x to the third. X times 2x is plus 2x squared. X times a 1 is just itself, right? Anything times 1 is itself. Then we're going to do this set. I don't know if you want me to use a different color. We could do that. So 1 times x squared is just x squared. 1 times 2x is just 2x. 1 times 1 is 1. And now I'm going to combine what I can. So is there anything to combine with that? No. It's the only x raised to a power of 3. But here we've got 2x squared and an x squared. So we're going to combine those. Plus 3x squared. Notice the term stays the same. I didn't suddenly have x to the fourth here. Okay, now we have x and 2x, so that's plus 3x. There's one of them and two more, that gives us 3. And then plus 1 goes at the end. Can any of these be combined? No. Look, all of the x's are to different powers. Okay, same with this one. I don't think anything interesting is going to happen here. So, okay, multiply the 2x times all of these things. Now, you could do this in a vertical method. I guess that's something I could show you. So 8x to the third, and then 2x times a negative 3x is going to give us negative 6x squared. And then 2x times negative 6 is going to give us negative 12x. So what I meant by a vertical method is we can stack the like terms. So now I'm going to multiply this 2 times all of these things. And when I do that, now I'm going to stack the terms underneath the one that they are like. Okay, so this is going to be 8x squared. So I'm not going to put it under here. I'm going to do positive 8x squared. 2 times 4x squared, that's what that is. Okay, 2 times a negative 3x. That gives us negative 6x. By the way, if you don't like this, then just do it like we did this other one, where you just like keep writing them out. It's fine. You don't have to do it a different way. 2 times a negative 6 is negative 12. Now that these are written above and below each other, I can combine them. 8x to the third plus 2x squared minus 18x minus 12, final answer. Okay, that's all you do. So it's not required to do the vertical method, but it is possible to do it. You can do it if you want to. Oh yeah, we got to do shapes. Oh, and then this will be done. Okay, so area means for a rectangle, length times width, right? So this is a rectangle, area is equal to length times width. So I'm just going to multiply x minus 5 times x plus 8. You might be asking, well, what if you wrote this one first? Would that be wrong? No. With multiplication, order does not matter. Now I'm going to reach back to that first method because I only did it once. The FOIL method, we do the first term times the first term. So x times x is x squared. The outer terms, this is on the outside, this is on the outside. X times positive 8 plus 8x. Inside terms, this one and this one, negative 5x. And last terms, negative 5 and a positive 8 is negative 40. Combine the inside, x squared, ooh, that was terrible. That's a 2. X squared plus 3x minus 40. And that is the area of this shape. Okay, this is a triangle. So you have to use the formula for a triangle. That is 1/2 base times height. You can also see it like this sometimes, base times height over 2. I like this better, but it doesn't matter. So let's do 1/2 times 2x, and then times 4x plus 12. I'm going to multiply these two and just get that out of the way. So 1/2 times 2x is just going to be 1x. Okay, but now I still have to multiply times this other thing. Okay, so x times 4x is going to give us 4x squared, and then x times 12 is a positive 12x, and that is simplified because you cannot combine anything else. And that is, this video is done. So let's turn it off.